Hello there, welcome back to the channel and the exploration of the Romulan and Klingon navies respectively, this one returning to the Romulan navy once again. This time, before we get started, please like, share, subscribe and comment down below, and also want to tell you about the other channels that I have very quickly. They are all linked in the description below if anyone ever reads that anymore. And yeah, there's another channel called Nerd World Films. It's rather similar to this one, a Nerd World History, because if you're a sci-fi buff, I usually find that people who are really into sci-fi are often quite into history, and I actually have two history channels also linked in the description below, my main one being Nerd World History, of course. And yeah, let's get into this. This episode is about the Romulan scout ship. This small, nimble vessel was probably the Romulan equivalent to a Danube-class runabout, but was something of a more lean ship. It had the typical bird motif, as was common in Romulan designs, and the hull Aztecing that was evocative of a feathering pattern on the hull. In addition to this, it had nacelles that were extended away from the ship and was at least capable for a time of keeping pace with a larger and more powerful Derridix class warbird, albeit it was not able to maintain this. It couldn't actually keep this distance up. There was one instance where a warbird was pursuing a scout vessel, but in reality the warbird was trying to let the scout ship escape while making it look like they were trying to catch it. The scout vessel was again warp and impulse capable and actually had a cloaking device and shields, but it's not known if it was armed. I think it's safe to say it was, but none of them were ever demonstrated to use any weaponry. If they were armed, they're most likely only armed with disruptors. They carried a crew of 1 to 2, but could potentially carry more personnel on board if required. In the cockpit section of the vessel, there was a single person control system with a window viewing out into space, which when you really think about windows in space, it's got to be more psychological than useful, because most of the time you're kilometers away, and I don't know about you, but I can't see something that's several kilometers away, even if it's several hundred meters in size, against the pitch black of space. Chance is pretty limited anyway, getting off topic. Several of these vessels were encountered throughout the 2360s. Their exact date of commissioning is unknown, but they were certainly active by the 2360s. They were likely carried aboard warbirds as well as operating from planetary bases, and others seem to be the vessel of choice for defectors, as Admiral Jarok would use one of these vessels to defect across the Romulan neutral zone, something that was noted as being a little outside the scope and range of these vessels, which is why I think they were probably more akin to a runabout. They were probably designed to operate within the boundaries of Romulan space, to get personnel around or go on limited missions. Another one crashed on Golondan Core, and another one also carried a Federation defector back to the Federation who previously defected to the Romulans but was now defecting back. This is not a trustworthy person in my opinion. These vessels were not powerful, but they were a utilitarian, very useful ship and quite common amongst the Romulan Empire, usually good for carrying dignitaries or doing limited scientific missions. Despite their name Scout Vessel, which would belie that they will be used outside of Romulan territory, to do scout missions, there's actually no evidence. In fact, Picard even notes that these things don't often operate beyond the neutral zone. So again, I think they were designed to work within the confines of the Empire itself and not really be used to go beyond it. They probably lack the range and the fuel. That said, Starfleet would still like to get their hands on one of these ships, because the technology behind them would give them a good insight into that of the Romulans, something Admiral Jarok knew, which is why this vessel demonstrated an ability to self-destruct, which was another feature of the ship. He blew the vessel up rather than allow it to fall into the hands of the Enterprise crew and, by extension, Starfleet and the United Federation of Planets. This is only a quick video today because the scout ship, it doesn't appear much. There isn't a lot of lore on it. It's small, it's bird-like, it's got a pointy tip, it kind of looks like a flattened out warbird but much smaller. It was a fairly simplistic design, but it was very utilitarian in my opinion, very practical and an excellent design. Nacelles away from the main body to protect the crew, extend the warp field, only carry a light number of personnel, be used for limited missions. Of course, ships like this are absolutely essential for any great power. You can't use warbirds constantly to ferry people and materials between worlds. That's simply not practical. The Empire would have to have thousands of little ships like this just kind of buzzing about, and it's quite a nice thought, really. It would also explain why they're not armed, or not very well armed, as they weren't really expected to work beyond Romulan space. And again, that's it for this vessel.
I just want to take this moment to thank you for watching that video. If you liked what you saw, please check out my social links in the description box below to Instagram and Twitter and others, and also is down there a link to my Patreon page where you can support this channel and the others as I try to grow this franchise and do this more regularly. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, thank you for watching, and bye bye.